Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to tonight's episode. Season 6, Episode 2. You can't win with all strikers. Ideal teams and comps and all that fun stuff is kind of what we're going over tonight. So we're gonna jump right into it, introduce our fantastic star guest that we are talking to tonight. I'm actually super excited to have the lot of us chitter chatter together because I think this will be a lot of fun. So first and foremost, I'm just gonna go down the line easy peasy and start with Dillon. Dillon, who are you? What do you do? Where can people find you? All that fun stuff.
Hey, I'm a Sagittarius. I am in Michigan and I am a chief people officer for a company, an online information company that helps people land public speaking gigs and then leverage that to build their business. That's kind of my 9 to 5. And then outside of that, we are building Unfounded Ventures, which is an interactive comic world, novels, children's books, series of short stories. Where I'm so excited when I saw Gowden's background. We work with schools and young kids to help them come up with their own characters in our world and teach them storytelling concepts to be featured in our world. So it's interactive in a sense where kids get a chance to like see themselves in our fantasy world. So I've been doing that for about 8 years with my 3 partners. And we're getting ready to launch a new monthly booklet subscription similar to Highlights. So we have that coming out in September, and just excited to be here, man. D&D fan, big nerd, love anime, love manga. That's probably my biggest nerd flavor. But excited to meet you guys today, man.
You said manga. I don't know if you're a true fan over here. Manga.
Oh, I've always said it.
Everyone over here shaking their heads. How dare you say it like that?
People hate me already.
What are you from? The Midwest or something? Oh my god.
Yes.
No.
Wait till you see my bag.
All right, jumping forward. Oh, sorry. Before we jump forward, link, place, things to find you. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
We have a link tree, Unfounded Ventures. So Unfounded Ventures on Instagram, Unfounded Ventures on YouTube, Unfounded Ventures on TikTok, and then Unfounded Ventures public page. We have a free Facebook group that you can be a part of as well. Learning Discord, slowly learning Discord. I would love to learn as much as I can from you other nerds today.
Fantastic.
Good luck. I'm still figuring it out.
Did I say Discord right?
Yes. No. That one.
Yeah.
That one's hard to not pronounce incorrect. Discordio. Anyway, speaking of, Brandon, would you please introduce yourself? Yes, you. Yes,
All
you.
right. So hello, everybody. My nickname has been for about 100 years, Gauden, but my true name is Bernardo. I am the founder of a company called Blue Rabbit, and I created a platform to kind of get my students to engage with the class as they would at Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I literally base my designs on D&D 3.5, and there is no narrative built into it. It's pretty much the system where you can plug in your story, and then you plug in your concepts and your content and everything on top of it, and then you can design pretty much an adventure into a game-like environment. And then it turns out that I started reaching out to other places, and now we use the platform to gamify some universities, some other types of schools, corporate events, and lately we're now working with training with some big 500 Fortune companies. We've used the app to create training for big tech companies here, and it's been a blast so far. So good. That's why I have this little guy here, and yeah, so I've been doing that for quite some time. I started doing this in 2011, and then I published the app in 2014, 16. And then it just became a business a little bit afterwards. So here we are, fighting the good fight, trying to get everybody really engaged and really into stop learning through grades and start learning through learning. So yeah, I really love education. It's kind of the one thing that drives me forward every day. And here we are. I'm a father of a little daughter, just a 5-year-old. And so I just heard someone said something about that anime. I have no idea what you're talking about. I seriously, I seriously just stopped. I think I've been a Crunchyroll user for 15 years or something, or even longer. So yeah, I constantly log into that place just trying to find the next one because I watch pretty much everything that you can that's worth
Gonna
watching.
start rewatching things.
Um,
Unacceptable.
I don't I look I really don't rewatch. I actually when I reach the certain point in the anime, I just go and search for the manga to see if it's already done, and I just go read it. That's how I got started with One Piece. And people don't I just don't understand people who don't like One Piece. All you need to do is the first, I don't know, 3 4 episodes, and then you're gonna be like, why haven't I seen this before? And then you're gonna lose your life to it. End of discussion. Period. And yeah, and I will ask you what's your favorite anime later.
Okay.
Take it
One.
easy.
All right.
It's
All
not a
right.
personal question.
That
It's
that'll
not
be
a
We're
fun.
personal
friends
attack
here.
yet. All right. All right.
That
Noted.
that'll
Okay.
that'll be
We're
fun.
friends
Rook
here.
Rook has a complicated relationship with One Piece.
I'm all caught up. 1,182
Oh my
caught up. Upset it's
god.
not coming out this Sunday.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
needed to
yeah,
take a
yeah.
break. That first season was a lot to choke down. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're watching Netflix. Oh, you're in the wrong streaming app.
Oh, we're talking. I'm in the anime season one, not the live action season one.
I was teasing. Obviously, I know that.
uh, anyway,
Anyhow, how to um, getting a hold of me? The best place is LinkedIn.
okay.
I used to be very active in Twitter, but then it got bought and everybody dropped out of
What?
it. Yeah, did you hear that? Oh my, it happened like last week.
Like last
Um,
week, it's been
yeah,
like 3 years, y'all. It's been X a long
feels like
time
30.
now.
It feels like 30. Or
Cue the
300
Internet
years at a
Explorer
time.
meme.
Anyhow, yeah, through LinkedIn you can find me. We have Facebook page for Blue Rabbit. You can find Blue Rabbit class in LinkedIn as well. I probably will be able to find me through that or through Tabby, which was the second app that I created, and for some reason had a little bit of traction. We're not using that anymore, but anyhow, if you find me over there, it would be great. I love connecting with people. Reach out whenever you want. I would give you my WhatsApp, but I have enough spam in my phone. So yeah.
We don't engage with WhatsApp. We're too American for that. All right, jumping into the.
I'm gonna need subtitles for that.
We're gonna jump right into the questions and start having some fun here. So when we say the title, right? You can't win with all strikers. What is the first thing that jumps into your guys' mind? I'm gonna kind of call you guys out for you guys to think. So I'll give you a couple seconds to think of your answer. And we'll start with Bernardo this time. Bernardo, what when that title is said, what jumps into your head?
It means that you cannot win unless you have a diverse team. There's absolutely not a single team that leverage on the same skills. So let's just play it at Dungeons and Dragons. If you only have fighters, when you face your first mage orc, you're gonna die quickly. Fireball, end of discussion, right? Or it is very easy to lose perspective when everything's the same. So you cannot have the same skills everywhere because otherwise you just don't go anywhere. Period. That's it.
Okay, nice. What I like that descriptor. Jumping over to Dylan.
Yeah, man. For me, I think everybody very similar to what Bernard. Now I'm going back from Gowden to Bernardo, and I'm gonna get confused. Same thing. We like to say like everyone's got their own mastery. Like I say to my 9 to 5, I'm always asking my team. I'm like, what is a mastery that you are looking to cultivate in your role? That way you're not waking up to 5 sales calls a day because you're a sales rep. You're waking up to 5 at bats to have the ability to be like, I want to practice deep listening or questions to ask. Like you have a mastery you want to grow. Like we should all be excited about that. Very similar to I'm going to Gowden. Very similar to what Gowden said is like I think to grow anything, you need people with different masteries, opposing masteries. And then when you like shine your mastery on something, it allows somebody else to see something differently. And in our fantasy world, it's very similar to D&D, but you have builders, explorers, and defenders all having their own, blind spots and all having their own strengths. Well, it's like you need to lean on each other if you're looking to grow in anything. So yeah, I'd say that similar.
Okay, Nice.
Do you remember this game of the Three Vikings? Can't remember if it was called Three Vikings just now. It's a very old game.
I
You don't
don't know.
remember that?
I'm gonna
You would
I'm
play
gonna
that
look it
on.
up.
Oh my God, you would play that on MS2, MSDOS, and it was about three Vikings. Each of them had different skills, and you had to play with them and exchange them in positions so that you
I was
would
gonna say
use the
that.
archer or use the shield. It was insane,
I
but
think it
that's
was
a
called
recipe.
Lost
Lost
Vikings.
Vikings. I just looked it up. Lost
There you
Vikings.
go, the Lost Vikings. Thank you so very much. That's the one. That was that would summarize it
Nice.
Yeah.
quickly in the game setting.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna ask Jared the same question, and I'll give him my own response. But it sounds like we're gonna have some fun discussion on this one. So, Jared, what about you? When you hear the title, what's the first thing that pops up into your head?
Oh, I'm not a super big sports guy, but what comes to mind when you say "Oops, all strikers" is the obvious reference of you can't have your team all focused on one skill set. And that's one of the biggest problems whenever they do like special teams or all-star teams or anything like that. Is you get all these big egos who are like, no, I'm the moneymaker. No, I'm the moneymaker. I'm from this team. And while they're all skilled players, none of them are trained in working as a team. So at least not with each other. They're used to playing with their teams, where they're the center of attention most of the time. And that's why the all-star teams are all great for spectacle, but they don't really flow well as a team most of the time.
You look at the Olympics recently, man. It's the reason Canada got silver medal and USA got gold, man. It's like people even questioned Bill Guerin when he was making that team, but he made it because he's thinking of everyone's strengths. He's not looking for all goal scorers. He's looking for depth on the fourth line that can go against the McKinnon line, and it's the reason they were able to get a W. I think that's a great analogy, man.
I was gonna say when I thought about this, soccer came to mind. You know, especially like little kids soccer, right? Like if you got kids that don't know how to pass and they're all gonna hog the ball, they're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
Goodbye, small
Yeah.
child. So, excuse me, sorry. I think that's all great responses. I will be playing devil's advocate in a little bit on this, but let's kind of keep going on this setup. Starting with Dillon. Dillon, in your own team, right? When you're working with your people and crafting your worlds and things, what role do you play?
Yeah, it's funny. We have our own. So our roles are, obviously art director, and he's the illustrationist, we call him. We have the world crafter and the story crafter. The world smith is what we call my partner Matt, who's doing a lot of the writing, and they call me the fool out front. Like my job is to my mastery. I have been told is I have some charisma. I am fine with making a fool. I am fine with being the center of attention. So I play marketer in that sense. But I'm also heavy into plotting the main story. So we're actually just finishing up plotting the first arc of our 25 chapter series of books. It'll be in 5 books. But what I'll do is I'll lightly plot the entire 25 chapters, and then I'll go back and heavily plot each chapter, kind of take that like James Patterson approach. And then Matt will kind of come behind me, pause, and he'll write it. Right? Well, now he gets to be in his mastery of writing and producing that story and producing that picture without the worry that he's going to run into plot holes. Like he's not going to be pantsing like Stephen King and then run into something of like, man, how do I write myself into the Dark Tower? He just gets to write, and then then we'll have Casey, one of our illustrationists, come in and be able to figure out, hey, where do I want to put pictures? How do I want to format each of it? So I think that's how we all work within our strengths. My job's more overall plotting and being the person dumb enough or courageous enough to talk about what we're doing day in and day out.
Fantastic, and it's a needed role, right?
Yeah.
Hard to replace you because then no one would know about the cool stuff everyone else is making. So no smaller important part there.
And also easy to hate me. I think it's easy to be like just get frustrated with marketing. I've been upset at my business owners before of like, is all you do is just market? And now that I'm in it, I'm like, holy shit, this is tough.
Yeah, marketing sucks. Marketing is the worst part of business. 100%. Bernardo,
Mm.
jumping. Okay, arguably. If you're bad at it, it's the hardest part. But Bernardo, jumping over to you, in your team doing your thing, what is your role? What do you do?
So the way I usually describe myself, because most of the time when so within Blue Rabbit, I am kind of like the creative builder. So because I can code and I can design, I have been kind of like being this translator between everybody. So whenever the developer has to do something, I just go and I say, do it like this. And then when when we have to come up with some better ideas, then we start kind of like bridging this design, this beautiful part between the creative side and the structured side. I really love being able to be in both sides of it. However, when I work with other companies, I mostly work as a consultant, and when that happens, I love to be described as the idiot in the room. I'm the guy who's gonna make the worst questions. I'm gonna ask the most stupid questions, and I'm gonna be the one who's gonna be literally questioning. But why do you have that? Why can't you do that? Why are you not allowed to do that? And I love to challenge the status quo because it's incredible how many times people have been using a rule that whoever put that rule in place has left the company 10, 20 years ago. And they just used it for something specific that worked back then. And they just stuck with it. And now when you realize, hey, what if you just don't follow that rule and you just do it this way? People are not used to be thinking outside of that. So breaking the rules is something I really, really enjoy. Uh, Not in the sense that I don't follow the rules, in the sense of literally going into something and saying, this rule, I don't think that works very well. So we break it. And because of my gamification background, we're working right now in redesigning loyalty programs and redesigning. That's why I don't hate marketing that much, but uh, but it's kind of like getting people into engaging with different kinds of mindsets and completely moving away. Everybody, it's incredible how everybody's like, oh, we can do this system with these amounts of points. And I'm like, no, you can't. If you do that, the players are going to do it this way and you're going to lose everything. And they're like, what? And it's incredible how, as a gamer, you develop this ability to see those things. And people normally do not see how a system can be broken just because you add a small multiplier to something. It's insane how deep our minds go, but I believe that's experience. That's just thousands and thousands of hours of gameplay in your head telling you don't, you know. And uh, yeah, I could dive deeper, but I'm going to shut up now.
Well, I got a couple things on what you said, right? Firstly, on that last bit, the multiplication issue is a wonderful thing, especially in D&D, because the times 2 multiplier isn't bad when you're only doing 7 points of damage from the longsword. But by the time you're level 10, that times 2 multiplier suddenly turns 40 something points of damage into 80 something points of damage, and most enemies have, at most double that. So you get 2 good hits in a turn with your times 2 weapon, and suddenly even the biggest, baddest boss is dead instantaneously, which makes life way harder for DMs and storytelling and all that fun stuff. Unless you're playing a campaign that is just a grindhouse where you're just chopping through everything you can, which is also fun in its own right, but whatever. The other thing that you talked about is tradition that is there for an unknown reason from someone that, was around a long time ago. Reminds me of the story of a dojo that when they would tie their gis together, they'd have a special little way they tied their belt, right? And the effect it had on most people is it made their pants ridiculously tight, so it was hard to move, so they had to learn how to do all their martial arts stuff with super tight pants for no good reason, right? Like, it was just how their dojo did things, so on and so forth. Well, one of the students finally got tired of it and asked why. They went through, the last master, well, this master did, and so on and so forth, right? And they go back 5 or 6 generations to the masters that have been there, and they finally catch the original owner of the dojo, who's still around, 90-year-old man, been around forever, yada yada, shows up every once in a while. And he asks the master, why do we tie our belts like this? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And he goes, it's because I have little legs. I have to tie it like this to keep my pants up.
The things that you just described, hundreds of problems in companies who have lost common sense, and it is incredible how many people are doing that, and they don't know that they're just friends.
it's a wonderful story to remind yourself that can happen to anybody. And I mean, systems get old, right? Switching from CDs to digital only, totally different process. So you don't need to record something 6 times and put it on 6 different save files because you only actually need one. You're not needing to transfer it to something else, that kind of stuff. So the redundancies and time saving stuff that come along with new technology need to be adapted for your systems and SOPs and all that fun stuff. It's great. Jared, jumping over to you. This is a fun question to ask you because we're in the same company. But what is your role in Epic Sages? What do you do for us? What is your, I like the word mastery. I'm going to steal it, Dillon. So thank you for that small gift.
Hey, you came up with it as far as I'm
That's a great word. Thanks for inventing it just now.
Look, you're a genius, right?
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna write it down.
Stop. Our bandwidth is choking. We can't fit his ego now.
I used to.
How do you spell it?
Before you come in, Jared.
That's the wrong question to ask. Can't spell nothing over here.
To get certain things across to my teams because nobody wanted to listen to me, I would make quotes up that I've said, and then I would say unknown, and then like who came up with the quote, and everyone's like, "Whoa, that's a really good idea." And I'm like, "Yeah, I just found it." Like, just when selflessness takes over, you can actually get your point across. Sorry for interrupting, Jared.
No, that's utterly wild.
I was sitting there trying to think of how to what I bring to Epic Sages. Well, I've only really been with the company. It'll be a year next month, right? I would say so far, I probably have brought Rook a few ulcers.
I'm an excellent health. I don't know what you're talking about.
I brought a Fallout campaign is what I've brought. I'd say my mastery, like, is just a good thing. It's like I can't speak to what exactly I would say because that's one of the things we're going to figure out here in a month when he's like, "Oh, it's been a year. What do you bring?" I'm still in the process of figuring that out. But as far as my mastery and I actually have to say empathy, and that's one of the things that leaks over into my like dungeon mastering style is I'm not one of those DMs that gets super hung up of like, no, this is my world. You need to experience my NPCs and read all this lore I wrote. And I was like, no. This is about my player's experience. I'm seeing it from their perspective. And it's like, what is their character going through and how can I make that a deeper experience?
Nice.
You want to talk selflessness, man. Being a DM and creating what you need to create only for someone to just come in and be, like you say, like those chaotic players that are like, we're actually going to completely go the exact opposite direction. And you're like, no, my baby. I have not done DMing yet. I was getting ready to. For all of my buddies in my hometown, hockey players that have never played Dungeons and Dragons before. And I'm like, they're like, Dillon, we're only playing if you're DMing. And I'm like, okay, craft this world, craft all these side stories. And it's just like, there's a lot that goes into it. And then they all last second said they didn't want to play. But I can only imagine what you do, Jared.
That's even worse.
My more modern style of doing it now is like I will create a bunch of material that I can easily slot in and out of a situation that I've kind of set up for the players. I set the arena, and then I try not to be 100% reactive because that's not a healthy stance to be in too. But I try to be very adaptive to what my players are doing and what they want. Because I've had entire plot threads where I'm like, hey, this will be great for this character. And they go completely different direction. It's like, I guess I'm building this road now. I'll just take these bricks and hold it here until I can make new bricks for this road they've suddenly started taking.
Adaptability.
Like when you literally, I'm going to keep harping on this, when you literally build an abandoned theme park for your players to explore and somebody says, hey, look, a door. Rook.
I had questions. I needed answers. Okay, leave me alone.
I once kept an entire party from advancing the story because I made them paranoid that the dungeon master said, "Oh, and you see a cat and something else." And I was like, "But wait, the bad guy was a wizard. Maybe that cat is the familiar. And they've cast empath link, so don't move. We cannot." I kept the entire party 8 hours in one room, not doing anything because the cat was out there. Not kidding. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. If Gilberto's listening to me, I'm sorry.
May all gods bless dungeon masters.
Because your DM was freaking out at that point. Just go through the door. Please, just go through the door.
That was like the rotten food scene in the last Fallout session I ran. You all just eating rotten food. I'm like, there's not anything of narrative value here. You're all just eating rotten food.
You're just forcing Ryder to eat bad food. He's getting radiation poisoning. Please stop.
And then going on to a roller coaster, which is great.
Just a horrible decision. Anyway, hashtag check out our Fallout series. It's great. So jumping into my role, right? For Epic Stages, kind of hit a lot of different things because we're such a small community at this point, and it's definitely shifted over the years. Originally, I was our new ideas guy. I came up with all the stuff that was like, "Hey, let's try this. What could we do this? Hey, let's." Jared's taking over that part. I became the old man of the group and got all the responsibility. It's ridiculous because that's what I do now. I do all the ordering and shipping stuff and set up events and that kind of thing. So I do the back end scheduling. Yeah, do a lot of the back end work. But then I still make time to be a goofy Yahoo like everyone else. Do our series and things. It's great. Love it. So that's my role for our company. So I'm going to go into the next question for you. What is your least favorite role that you have to take yourself? What is the thing that you do it, but you hate it? Bernardo, we're going to start with you this time.
It just goes down to one word: accounting.
All right.
Yeah, it sucks.
Dillon, you gonna echo that one?
I'll give 2 words. No, it's really tough. I mean, when you're working with creatives, you want the best. I want them to lean into their mastery as much as possible, and we have goals that we want, right? So being kind of the person that's got to hold everybody accountable to deadlines blows, because then you're like, hey, creatives who love to create, and I'm going to hold you to this deadline you said you were going to have this done by, and then you turn into this bad guy, which sucks. So I think holding people accountable to the progress we want to make, and or having the patience that it's just not going to be as quick as we initially thought it would be.
I got 2 words for that comment. Ribbit, and Jared knows. Speaking of Jared, what about you? What is your least favorite thing that I throw at you?
Trying to figure out what you just said. He looked like he was.
Oh, I said ribbit.
Oh, he looked confused.
No, I was trying to look crazed actually, but it works. Confused is definitely an emotion felt at the time he was referencing. But anyway, least for everything you throw at me. Honestly, my least favorite thing to do in the company is set up and take down of our booth.
Okay.
So
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I'm almost 40. Certain body parts are starting to wear out.
wait until you're 42, or wait, 43. I'm sorry.
Wait until you're 34. It sucks.
I blew past that already.
My chess teacher used to say, "Life's before and after 26." I was 23 back then. I'm like, it can't be that bad. I turned 26, and it was like, holy crap!
It's like someone flips the switch, and you're just like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Everything goes like, what?
Well, that's funny.
And then every year it just kind of feels like it sinks a little lower and a little lower and a little lower.
That's funny because biologically 26 is kind of like where people stop aging, cellular wise, stop their growth, and we start just dying slowly, or maintaining and then dying. And sometimes not so slowly. Yeah, you're right.
This is fun, guys. This is fun, you guys.
sorry. Old man talks over here.
Yeah, sweet.
We're all gonna die one day. Next question.
Yeah, and then on my end,
We just have 50 years of aging.
my least favorite thing is
existential horror is sweet.
In my role, my least favorite thing is marketing, right? It is my bane, right? As much as I understand it and like it, finding the appropriate avenues to hit the right people and figure out what niches are the right way to go and all that, hate it. That's where I struggle as a business owner.
Because I'm a content creator on top of what I do for this company. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's just no fun. Spending money on ROI of little to none hurts my soul.
Although the commercial I made for us went pretty okay overall, I'd say.
I did. I agree. So next fun question. Let's get into the more of the discussion of your team comp. Right, when we're building our stuff from the ground up, we really have an ideal of what we think we need and where it is, right, or and then where it ends up being in reality. And what it needed to be and what it was, all that fun stuff. So, Dillon, when you're on your team stuff, how did you think, or what did you think you needed to make what you're doing work, and then how have you made it work since then?
And we're talking about the team in general, or even like the journey of growth of Unfounded Ventures.
Let's go bigger and do the Unfounded Ventures.
Yeah, as a whole, it's funny because me and Matt, my partner, just got done talking about this, where one of our core values is like courage to fail, courage to start, courage to fail. When I first started this, almost 10 years ago now, it started as a novel I had of this story of this god in this lost part of the universe, and I was so excited, and I had this uh, mentor who was a multiple-time best-selling author of fiction on Amazon and USA Today bestseller. And I plotted my first 3 books, being a natural plotter. And I remember it took forever. I showed it to him, and he's like, "Oh, no one's gonna read this. Like, no one wants to follow a god. Like, we want a protagonist we can relate with." Now, whether he was true or not, I took it to heart, and I'm like, okay, I'll redo this. So I start redoing the story, and I'm working with Matt separately at the time, and he's like, "Man, the way that you plot, kind of, I see more of a picture like a comic." So now my novel turned into a comic, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll do comics or manga for American style for people like me, like 30-year-olds, 20 at the time, 25." Uh, and I start putting it out there, and it's like that didn't work. Kids really liked it. And kids started being like, "Well, I want to know what my character looks like." So then it turns into, "Oh, okay, we need this needs to be a comic for kids. And how can we help parents and kids connect?" And then we start going to schools and teaching kids how to figure out what their character is, and it's a self-awareness practice, right, for castle learning out. And I'm sure you're familiar with that in the States. It was big for a while, like social and emotional intelligence. So we started doing that. Well, then that turned into schools being like, "We love you, we just don't have the budget for it. We need to be able to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic." So then we go, "Okay, well, what if we taught storytelling frameworks after you come up with your character?" And that went really well. We had like our first big deal of $7,000 for like a local elementary school last year, and we're coming in and teaching 12 classes how to create stories, and they turn them in to us, and we craft them up, and we were going to give them back to the school. That went well. We came back the second year, and they're like, we don't have the same budget for just writing. It needs to be reading and writing and math. Like, that's what our budget goes towards. So then that kind of is what gets us on our booklet today, where we take these kids' young stories and we put them in these like highlight subscriptions that we send out that have reading comprehension questions at the end. And you slowly start adding to it. Well, it's like that was never like, I didn't start this 10 years ago being like, maybe one day we'll have an interactive fantasy world with a highlights like subscription monthly. But when you love something so much and you're willing to like come up against these roadblocks and say, how can we adapt? That's where you find your sweet spot. And I think a lot of people get so scared about that because they're like, well, that's not my vision. And like, what I would love to tell that person is like, you're right. It's actually going to be better than your initial vision. You're still going to find that seed of something that you love in it, but you're going to be able to adapt to see how it can help your audience. And so we're finally at the one thing that's like, this can be profitable with less legwork, and we still get to do what we love. Like, it's just checking the boxes. Well, that takes 8 years of what some would call failure. So, I don't know if that answers the question.
It didn't, and I'll follow up with a question. But it lets me jump into something I like to talk about. We were on a show called The Blocks our first year in business, right? It's an entrepreneurial reality TV show, and we get to meet Wes Hartman, and he is a fantastic entrepreneurial coach. And his big thing for a lot of our entrepreneurial friends is get a product out there, make it pretty later, right? Get what you need to do, and then you can adapt and build. You can't throw something in the market perfect, Doesn't work, never happens, right? Even the really good things still have to get tweaked somehow. Prices have to be changed. How you market or where you're marketing it to has to change. But getting it out there is the most important thing, right? And sometimes getting out there and knowing it fails lets you know that, hey, this isn't a thing, right? We can't do this. Personal example for our company is we're like, oh, we're gonna build. We got 3D printers. We're gonna build miniatures. You know what people don't buy a ton of for some reason? At least not custom ones. Miniatures. I think we've sold a whopping 10 in the last 4 years that we've had our machines. You know, I mean, we still have it. We can do it if we need to, but it's just like not something people care about because it's just as cheap to go to Amazon and buy a $220 pack as it is to go through us to get, you know, special one that is your specific character. And there's already companies that are have it, right? So it's like, yeah, we don't need to do that. We'll focus on other things. We'll do other cool stuff. But I'm going to refocus the question, Dylan. When you were building all that and doing all that, when you envisioned your team crafting that, what group of people were you like, I need a tank, I need a mage, I need a fighter, I need a rogue? What were those kind of roles that you thought you needed? And what did you actually get or are working with now that's working?
Yeah, do you want me to put it in D&D analogy, or can it be any analogy?
No, any analogy's fine. Any analogy's fine.
Because again, I live and breathe Bastunia, and which is our fantasy world and Unfound Adventures, and it comes back to like the builder, explorer, defender. They all have their own subtypes. So in the beginning, I'm like, I need a builder maker. Like I need someone that's going to be just a great artist, and can just create this. I need a builder strategist, someone that can see that big picture. And I need a builder breaker, like someone that is naturally going to be able to like poke holes in what we're doing to make it better. Typically the person you fucking hate in the beginning, but you're like, oh no, you're doing this because you love it. And to be honest, man, it's looking at my team now. That's still what we have. I think other masteries that they have like taken the foreground a little bit more, but we've been pretty fortunate on, because when I brought people on, it's like I knew their mastery. I knew that I wasn't the writer that Matt Emery is. So that's why I wanted to work with him. He knew he wasn't the plotter or like the lore builder that I was at the time. So he wanted to work with me. And then Evan and Casey, we were fortunate enough to find in Facebook groups. Yeah, man, it hasn't. I think that's probably not the answer that we're looking for here, but it hasn't shifted that much. I think it's only expanded a little bit.
That's good. I mean, sometimes you get the right team, right? You get the right table of D&D yahoos together, and you just form the dream team to tell your stories. It happens from time to time, which is great to hear. Jumping over to Bernardo, give you some time to speak here. What about you? Where did your original team look like in your head, and then what has it kind of developed into now?
So in my head, I always wanted to have someone in charge of the administration of the business and somebody who was on sales all the time, and to have one fully dedicated graphic designer, a full-time developer, me in the back playing the game with everybody, running the game. Then I became all of those five, and um, and and what my team ended up being, I met my first business partner when I went to to my second gamification summit in San Francisco, and I met him there. I was like, "Hey, is there anybody from Mexico here?" And somebody said, "Yeah, I am." And then I was like, "Oh, fantastic!" We met, we talked a little bit, and they said, "Well, we should talk when we're in Mexico." Sure, sure, sure thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, those kind of meetings where you say those things that nobody meets. Turns out that we were neighbors. We lived literally 1.5 blocks away from each other in a city with 30 million people. That's how close we were to each other. He ended up having his office, I don't know, maybe 7 blocks away from that. So he called me, and he was a salesman. He used to work for something in education, and we just clicked in, and we started working. Then we brought in one of my best friends, a software developer, who I have worked with since 2006, and it started growing from there. And then the team was the three of us for quite some time. We brought in an investor who ended up being not a good person. So heads up to anybody who's starting a business: be aware of bad actors. Follow your gut, because if I had followed mine, I would have chosen a different. I should have chosen a different approach. But that's the kind of things that you didn't know you didn't know, right? So, a good advice I could tell people is when you are in a phase when you're growing, because this happened to us in 2017, we got an award at Gamification Europe that we did not expect to receive. I was just happy to be considered to be one of those because I was in the pool with a lot of other big companies and a lot of other big actors. And then suddenly, in the middle of the dinner, they said, "Well, Blue Rabbit." I'm like, "Blue Rabbit, what?" Yeah, Blue Red one. I'm like, what? I could not believe it. And when I went back home, I had 7 offers from 7 different investors, and I chose the wrong one, which is absolutely insane. Anyhow, so make sure that you always follow your gut. We were able to get rid of that partner after some time, and the business has been pretty much the three of us from since then. We normally hire other people who we have an event where we have to go, and we get some other friends to join, and it's usually it has to be people who can engage easily with the tasks. But in terms of administration, you get your accountant, you get your lawyers, you don't have to have everybody all the way connected to you. But in terms of the dream team, you have to have someone to help you build. There has to be someone to help you build, and there has to be someone to help you sell. Those two things are the most important thing. And coming back to how much you love marketing, um, I think that the main reason why we don't like it is because you have to deal with specific social behavior that it's not exactly fun. We're trying to force our sale into somebody else's life, and we don't value or we don't see how to transmit that value into their lives easily. We want to try and catch who wants our product, not who we want them to want it. You know what I mean? It's the difference between the push and the love, right? So it's a little harder, but we have been very fortunate that the clients that we have found are actually clients who really want and need the service. So that has taken away a lot of how do you say it, like bad feelings around the process of the sale itself.
Yeah,
It's not as hard
great
on
concept.
that on the front.
Great concept for that is you are going from selling a supplement to selling a medication, right? The people you're selling it to are the people that need it, not
Yeah.
something that's kind of just like extra that might help.
Yeah, and I love that analogy because supplements and medications are so. I mean, it's flabbergasting how people in the supplement industry demonize medication, right? Oh no, don't take the medication; it's gonna kill you. It's gonna do. Okay, then that's what cures you, right? But the point being, you don't want to be that person who just want to push something for the sake of pushing it. And I can see just for the fact that you like role playing games, you're the kind of people I can assume that, and if I'm assuming wrong, please hit me. But I can assume that you're not the kind of person who would sell something that would hurt others. You're trying to make a good product. You're trying to make something fun and engaging and loving, and you put your passion into it. Because when you build a world, you drop your heart into it. So it doesn't matter. I think it's one of the most selfless act. I mean, Dylan, you're talking about writing stories and building plots and doing that. Um, when I learned about Dungeons and Dragons, the myth behind it was like, oh, don't play that thing. It's the devil, and it's gonna. It turned out that it changed my life for good, and it set me up for success in the future. It completely changed my perception of what was possible in the universe and how we could actually create our own universe where everything was possible and where we can take things to a different dimension where there are no rules. And guess what? Turns out that there are no rules. You can put the dishwasher twice if the dishes are not as clean, right? You've seen that analogy, right? Run the dishwasher twice. You can do that. You can do whatever you want. It turns out that we can change education. We can change this perception of how people work in their environments. We can change the perception of how people develop their relationships. It doesn't have to be as we were told, as long as we talk to each other and play the game.
I love that. just on a whole, because it really is the truth, right? Anyone I've ever played with has told me something along the similar lines of like, "Oh man, I had no idea how fun this could be," or "Man, I thought it was just a whole bunch of nerds in the basement doing weird things," which we do, but also, but there's more to it. It's not just flirting with the homies. But some people come for the flirting with the homies, whatever. No judgment over here. But a big part of it is discovering that you can just do so much more than what you're expecting, right? That's a running the dishwasher twice is a great word mastery. Running the dishwasher twice. I'm stealing both of those. Thank you both.
Master, you just come up with that?
It just came up with that just right now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anyway,
Twice in one.
twice in one thing. Exactly. Yes. But I agree. When you find the right group, it will have that effect. Now, are there bad apples, bad eggs, bad investors that get into your life and just ruin things for you? You got to try it again with someone else that knows what the heck they're doing or is there for you? Yes, for sure. Right? There are DMs and players out there that will ruin your experience because they're just toxic individuals that no one likes, right? And eventually you kind of catch the flags ahead of time and be like, that's not for me. Yeah, sometimes they are for people. They, if they group up together, they can have a great time being bad together. And sometimes they just need to find that. Wish them the best. But if you do find the right group of people or the right experience, it does totally change your outlook on how things could occur for you as a person. And I love that, right? Jared, I'm going to jump away from the business side, and then instead jump into your DMing style, more for your ideal group of people, from when you first started being a DM to how you are now, right? What is your ideal team comp when you were running a group of Yahoos? And what did it start as, and what is it now?
What did it start as? It started very rigid, actually. I believe. No. You need the traditional roles. You need the healer, the fighter, the rogue, and all that. Because I started playing when I was in high school. So when I started DMing, it was still very much in that what I understood it as. And then over 20 plus years of I was 16. I am now 39. So yeah, 20 plus years of playing this game, playing this game, and running this game and games like it. My ideal composition is less about rigid, like structured roles, and more of personality types. I try not to have too many spotlight seekers in one thing. I try not to have too many quiet players in one setting, because if everyone's a quiet player, then I'm basically just kind of narrating to myself and overly like being, did you want to do this? Did you want to do that? Having to do that on every single person's turn. I don't mind doing that for like one or two people who might be a bit more shy or quiet, and that's fine. But having an entire group like that is a little physically taxing. Nothing on them. It's okay to be shy. It's okay to be anxious. Hell, I'm anxious. But when you have an entire table of people who have trouble communicating, you become the central hub of communication, and it's like, and at the same time, if you have like a lot of spotlight seekers, they're all fighting for attention. They're all doing escalating more and more crazy things just to have your attention.
Yeah.
So I like to have a balance. It's okay to have one spotlight seeker, especially if they've got other personality types that kind of feed into that and they feed off of each other. You have the wild dreamer who sees the personality seeker has a crazy idea and he's like, I know how we can make it crazier. And then you have the quiet person who's like behind the scenes making sure that the crazy idea doesn't get everyone killed. When you have good narrative flow, good cooperative flow, that is a great table composition. And it's less about rigid structural roles and more about the people at the table.
Fireball. Oh wait, sorry.
No, every time. Just, make sure you have resistance or immunities. I'm gonna jump into mine also in the role playing perspective instead of the business side of things. I'll also touch on business, but I want to actually throw the counterpoint here, right? So originally, when I first started DMing forever ago, I needed there to be an equal number of magic users and fighters, right? The melee people versus wizardy folks, right? There needed to be a healer. There needed to be someone with a ridiculously high AC that would stand in front of everybody and get slapped in the face, while everyone else kind of did their own thing, right? I needed those spots. Because me, as a player, I love versatility characters. So, I love warlocks. I love fighters because they can do the most things well across the board. Rogues now, too. Rogues got to hit that really hard as skill monkeys. But
Bards.
Bards do pretty good too. But they get pigeonholed really hard, right? They get the horny bard syndrome just all the time, unfortunately, right? As much as we can appreciate that, uh, sometimes it'd be enough.
I once had a bard player play just as a opposition to the trope. The world's most modest bard. She wore like ankle length dresses and spoke very politely and modestly and was very chaste.
See, we have the opposite of that, which we had the fucking priest, which was a cleric of Aphrodite, and so he was just the horny priest the entire time. It was literally one of the best characters, hilarious. But that aside, now as a player, I kind of don't care what my players pick for their comp. If we want all fighters, we can make a group of all fighters. We want a group of all bards, we can make a group of all bards, right? It is wonderful to watch people kind of diverge into their own unique stories, especially in D&D 5e, because it allows for it so well, is you can basically take any one class and have an entire group of it, and no one is going to have the same character, right?
Nobody suspects the Paladin Inquisition.
Right, exactly. Like, you guys all have the same major abilities, but the flair and uniqueness to each one of your characters can be totally different. You can have totally different storylines, right? Which is, we go into, you can have all strikers, right? You can have people that are all really good at kicking that ball super hard. But you also have to know that if you're going to be all strikers, you have to have something secondary. You have to have a subclass. You cannot just use your main abilities, right? When you are a team of all strikers doing the same thing really well, you better fall in on the things that you guys suck at together, right? If someone is really bad at defense, make sure he is forward at all times. And the striker that's really good, the defendants goes in back, right? The quick running Yahoo needs to get back and kick a ball to the people in the front of the thing, right? If we're talking soccer references and whatnot. If we're doing back to D&D stuff, you want all wizards? Great. Make sure they're all different classes and schools of wizards. There's like 12 classes and they all do things fantastically. Also, wizards use weapons just fine. Just, roll well. Pray to the dice gods for the best outcomes kind of thing.
I've proved that wizards can tank.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, we have physical evidence. It's on YouTube. Dang it. But, if you're going to have all strikers, you need to be able to cover your own weaknesses, right? And know that you might not be meant for every job, right? Having all strikers in a group isn't going to be helpful if you need to stay on a location and build it up, right? Strikers don't build things, they tear things down. If you're looking to build, make sure you have a group of builders, right? Or at least have strikers that can also build, whatever, right?
Or resources to hire the builders.
Exactly, or resources to hire the builders, right? When all else fails, call a friend. So we're kind of running low on time, so I'm going to kind of rush forward and wrap things up really quick here for final thoughts and where people can find you and all that fun stuff. So, I'm into the main conversation here, but final thoughts. Starting with Dillon. Dillon, what are your final thoughts on this topic? The can't win with all strikers.
Man, I really like the last thing that you were talking about, where it's like if you are going to have your all strikers, have your subclasses, right? Because like even looking at my business now, of like there's 3 paths in Bastunia: builders, explorers, and defenders. It's like we are looking at all builders to create what we're creating at Unfound, but each with their own uniqueness. The makers, the strategists, the supporters, the breakers. It's like you need those subclasses within the main path. So I love that, man. Also, like masteries, I'm gonna take that. Potentially put that into my fantasy world, our comics. That was a big takeaway as well. Oh man, it's fun talking business and like what most people would be like the normal day-to-day things through this lens of nerddom because it's out there. And if anything, it gets me excited. And I don't want to go down another rabbit hole with us of like, how do you take this style of thinking? And Gowden, I'd be excited to chat with you after this. How do you take this style of thinking to the normies, to the athletes that have never played D&D, that have never allowed them, to the businesses that have never thought of gamification or how to create games and storytelling, because there's something in there that they can relate with, and I think it gives them, like you were saying earlier, Gowden, a different way of looking at the rigid patterns they have been following. right? They're like, well, this is the way we always do it. I tell our sales reps, I'm like, how do you have the curiosity of a child to allow someone to ask a question, to allow someone to think differently with it? And the way we talked about all this today is very childlike. So yeah, I just really appreciated it
In a positive way. In a positive way.
in an incredible way. I think it's fine. One person, a friend of mine, told me before. She's like, "There's a huge difference between childish and childlike. Strive to be the latter." And it's like, yeah, man, childlike. I want like, how do you stay as young as possible? Alan Watts talked about it. He's like, that's why we pass the torch on to our kids, because after a while, the cracks on the floor cease to have magic. Life is kind of meaningless after that. So you start to have kids and you get to see the world through their eyes. Be childlike as long as you can. Unfoundedventures.com is how people can find me.
Nice segue. Solid. Swooping in there.
Later.
Got it. Nice.
Punchline.
Bernardo.
Punchline. So now that we're in punchlines, bluerabbit.io. Thank you very much, Mike. No, I mean, so yeah, my website bluerabbit.io. But coming back to you, Dillon, yeah, I would love to sit down and chat with you a little longer, because what you just said is actually a pretty beautiful and engaging journey. Getting people to think differently, becoming a gamification consultant has been one of the professional highlights of my life, without a question. It's so much fun. It's really engaging, and it's also really, really challenging. Right now, I'm working with a very big company who has like all the absolute mindset and all the structure that you come in and then you try to say, hey, we can do it this way, and everybody's super excited about it, which is also incredibly exciting for us. Like when you realize that they are willing to change the mindset of an 8,000 employee company into something that's a little bit different, that's a little bit bigger. We did that with another 40,000 people company, and it was incredible to see that people want this. So the bar is not so high, guys. The bar to make this change in the world is not as high as we will think. The problem is that normally some of those voices who tend to say, oh, that's not possible or anything, they're too loud because they are part. I don't want to get any type of conspiracy or anything, but it's the establishment, right? It's people who have been there for too long, who have hoarded too much money, and they have access to two bigger microphones saying, this is me and I am the only one who says that. We have clients like that who are really hard to change their mindset, but we've also done some amazing things with those clients, because when they realize that life has no rules, life is a game. The thing is, when we grow up, we get to play for real. And to your point of being childlike, the key to life is to die young as late as possible. That's it. You can be 100 and still be as curious as you were 7. And guess what? There's nothing wrong about it. What's wrong about it is if you're, I don't know, 70 something and you're still throwing tantrums because they didn't give you hot milk. That is different. But if you are...
That's toddler-like, not childlike. There's a difference there.
Who the hell wants hot milk?
People trying to sleep, apparently.
I don't know. I drink milk. I like it. I just have to take Tums afterwards for 3 days straight. But I like it. Okay. Remember that your kid, when you become 30, you get a Tums package, and then you get something for your niece and something for your back.
I was gonna say we're getting in the old man tropes again. We gotta calm down here, guys.
All right. Anyhow, I really enjoyed this. May the force be with you all. I know you have to close this up, but yeah, let's all stay children as long as possible.
Love that, and we'll talk a little bit afterwards after our action review. So don't take off. But Jared, any last thoughts on this topic, and then our wrap up silliness?
I would say, like you were saying before, in the end, it doesn't matter what the job titles are for everyone in your group as long as they work well together. I will agree with that sentiment. And for anyone who, once again, looking to get into game mastering and all that, and they're wondering, like, it's like, best advice I can give, and I won't rehash what I've said before, I'll just rephrase it so it's a little bit more fresh. Less think of yourself less as Dark Lord Sauron and you're against the party, and more like Willy Wonka. We'll have fun if you survive.
That's a great one. I like that. Solid ending there, Jared. Coming up this next week for us, we don't have any cool events in town, so if you want to see us, you gotta come by the shop. If you are looking for adventure and fun, Monday and Wednesday this coming week is Fallout and Blades in the Dark again. I know we just had an episode this Tuesday, but that was a makeup one, so we're back on normal schedule coming up Monday. And then we're on to Jared's game of Fallout on Wednesdays. Any other major stuff? We have a code. Jared, what's the code this month?
Mother's 907.
Mother's 907 for the next couple weeks. We're still in the middle of the month. It's crazy. I feel like a lot has been going on this month. And then, Jared, do you got anything going on over at CouchQuest?
Nope, just the same old. These two games are taking a while to get through. We are doing Stardew Valley on Wednesdays because I just need a game to chill in the middle of the week. And then Veerling and I are continuing our journey through the Forgotten Realms in Baldur's Gate 3, which is a collaboration with Epic Sages because Veerling is one of our moderators.
All right. Well, with all that in mind, with adventure in mind, hope you all have a wonderful night. But before we run away, guest, I need a number between 1 and 3.
7.
Okay, that's not a number between 1 and 3. You have failed the assignment.
I swear to you, Gowden, that's what I was going to say because I thought he was going to say 1 and 10. Wild kind. I will choose 3.
Number 3, perfect. All right. Well, then you guys have picked. God, do you want to give me an actual number here?
1.
1. All right. That means you guys get the one in the middle, which is this one.
But I'm not out of options. I cast my special spells when the world needs stopping. I'm out of mana, but I'm still in motion. I cast my special spells just to keep things going. I cast a spell called 15 rounds of 9. Cease by interrupting peace on borrowed time. They think I'm empty. Think I lost my thread, but words don't stop what leaves the room half dead. Then comes a wand, they swear it's not a wand. A muggle trick, pretending something fun. It works like some enchanted wooden trope, but still it turns intention into smoke. And if they ask me how it's all defined, I use the tools they call long distance align. A whole bunch built from distance, fear and choice. It doesn't scream, it only steals your voice. Oh, I may be out of mana, but I'm not out of options. I cast my special spells when the world needs stopping. I'm out of mana, but I'm still in motion. I cast my special spells just to keep things going. I cast the one called Big Ass Sword, no prophecy. Just wait, I can't afford. It doesn't ask, it only draws a line between what's mine and what is left behind. And already a shows up in my hand. I have it shaped by breaking every plan. It doesn't change, it doesn't try to grow. It just does what it's always known to know. The weaker one still cuts a different truth. A softer edge I learned back in my youth. And last I cast a pen that doesn't fight, it just rewrites what doesn't feel quite right. I may be out of mana, but I'm not out of options. I cast my special spells when the world needs stopping. I'm out of mana, but I'm still in motion. I cast my special spells just to keep things going. What side you think you're on? It drifts unseen through every breath you take and leaves the walls with shadows that remain. Then comes 15-foot deletion zone, a circle where the silence has a tone. it too. I may be out of mana, but I'm not out of options. I cast my special spells when the world needs